I'm Jordan Clark, and this is my virtual assignment. The first question asks is, do I believe that the mission of preventing terrorist attacks is greater, same as, or less than the mission of emergency relief? And I personally believe that the mission of preventing attacks is more significant than emergency relief. You can see this in when FEMA became part of the Department of Homeland Security. Before they were two, the FRP had guided, I think it was over 350 disasters successfully, and then they came together, and then we had Hurricane Katrina, and it was like a big mess up, screw up, people's lives died, and I just think that just like shows that they weren't too focused on the emergency relief and more on just preventing terrorism. And I think now it's the missions are probably a little more equal, but it's like from the evidence, I believe they're definitely trying to prevent terrorist attacks more than emergency relief. The second question is, should the FRP be recreated and FEMA returned as the direct agency doing emergency response? I agree with this because putting all the responsibility on one agency is just too much. They have to provide the resources, the funding, the people, and I feel like that like spread the Homeland Security out thin, and that really struggled with emergency relief. And just like allowing it to be its own entity will allow for like the spread of responsibility, and just having more focused on one mission will have better outcomes in the end, not have people's lives die because of mistakes and not having enough resources. The next question that was asked is, in the absence of major terrorist attacks, do I believe Homeland Security will be dismantled? I personally don't think it will be. I think the absence of the terrorist attacks is just proof that the agency is working. Honestly, the second if it ever got dismantled and there's a terrorist attack, everyone's going to be questioning, oh, why did we dismantle it? Now it's broke. Well, now there's terrorist attacks. We need to get it back. And it's just going to be like catch 22. It's like there's no terrorist attacks. Are we just going to keep funding it? But I feel like the resources we put into the Department of Homeland Security is worth protecting like the lives of thousands of people, and like not allowing another 9/11 to happen. Like, do we need to let these attacks keep happening to have a department that will prevent them? And then the last question is, what are the greatest threats facing the nation, like in the future? And I think honestly, the greatest threat is stuff like we don't know about yet. As we talked about before, like the Department of Homeland Security, they're still new. They haven't seen everything. They don't know exactly how to combat every issue. And as technology advances, there's going to be more ways somebody can, have potential harm on the United States, and like different ways to attack. And there's never going to be a way to fully prepare for that because you won't know until you see it. And there's never going to be like 100% foolproof way to prevent terrorist attacks. So they're going to happen. One thing like I was thinking about is like there'll never be a balance to completely prevent it without attacking our like civil liberties. Like, to completely prevent it, we're going to have to be under a microscope, and a lot of people are going to be like, hey, no, we don't want to do that. Like, you don't need to be questioning everything we're doing. And it's just like a 50-50. There's nothing you can really do to completely prevent it, and you won't know how to prevent it until you see it. It's just a lot of things that I think is the biggest threat, is just not knowing. Because somebody keeps doing the same attack over and over again, we're going to see it coming. We're going to figure out how to prevent it, how to respond to it if it goes through. Just stuff we don't know about is going to be like the biggest issue. And that is my virtual assignment.